growing up in the Philippines, I was the only child to my mum and dad. I was raised in a Christian home, not by no means a perfect home, but I was raised by people who just love Jesus, and they tried to raise me the right way. Until one day it just all came crashing down. Found out that my mum and dad decided to split up, and at the time I didn't really understand what that meant for me going forward. But I just remember waking up, one night, and I saw my mum and dad crying, and I was just like crying because I didn't really know what was happening, but I just felt something inside of me that I didn't know what it was at the time, but I know how it is now, and it's the separation from my mum and from my dad, and the fact that that I'm not gonna have a normal family life growing up. And as a result of that event, my mum had to work abroad so that I could go to school and I could have a normal life. And it came at cost because me and my mum didn't have a normal relationship growing up because obviously she wasn't there on a day-to-day basis, and I appreciate all the sacrifices that my mum did for me. And and I didn't really know how the separation was going to affect my life until in school. Every time I had a parents and teacher meeting, everybody's mom and dad were there, and I was the only one like on my own with either my auntie or like my grandma, and I just felt so left out because I didn't share the same moments as my other classmates. And I can just remember like going to school, and my friends were like talking about what they did with their dad, and I was like, I didn't have a story. And I just felt really embarrassed because not because it was my fault, but just because I just felt like I deserved to have a dad, and I deserved to have somebody there to be with me, but I just felt like I didn't really have a choice growing up. And in that event in my life caused a lot of pain, and inside it didn't like manifest into like a drinking problem or like a drug problem, like I didn't rebel or anything, but deep inside I just felt pain that that was caused by the separation. And some of the pain I still have to navigate through every day that I wake up to, because that's reality. Pain is real. I can't just ignore it. I could certainly just forget about it for a day, but then I'll just feel pain because it's still there. It's real. But I do remember reading my Bible one day, and I'm not sure where it come from, but I can remember just reading it. It was so powerful because it was almost like as if God speaking to me directly. And it says that God says that today He has become my Father and I have become His Son. And the more and more I read that verse, the more and more I realize that ultimately God is my Father, and there's a truth about it that when God chose to adopt me as His son, like He knew what I did in the past. He knew the good things and the bad things that I did in the past. He also knows what I'm doing right now, and He knows what I'm gonna do in the future. Yet He still adopted me, simply because He loves me so much. And that's what I've realised over the years, that my mum and dad might not have been like maybe the best mum and dads in the world's eye, but I'm so glad that I've discovered that God is my Heavenly Father. And the more and more I realized that even if I had the best mom and dad in the world, even if I had like the best childhood in the world that they could have provided, I just felt like, you know, they wouldn't have compared to what God is like as a father. And that's something I really treasure every day. You know, not every day is easy. Sometimes, you know, I wake up and thinking, oh man, you know, I wish I had my mom and dad, you know, in a normal circumstance. But I also thank God that sometimes He lets things happen to us. Like in His mercy, He lets things happen to us, and it might not make sense, you know, in this side of eternity, but in the overall picture, it works together for my benefit. And so yeah, you know, some people might think that, you know, if God is a loving God, then why would He let my mom and dad separate in the first place? And you know, I might not never know the answer, but I'm kind of thankful in a way that because through that experience, through that pain and suffering, I discovered who my real dad is. And for that, I'm forever grateful.
Ain't the cover of a Rolling Stone.